Our top focus this Sunday morning, Vijay Mallyas' passport has been revoked by the External Affairs Ministry. The 60-year-old liquor baron had left the country for London early last month while owing nearly $1 billion to banks. The ministry has also said it is consulting legal experts on Mr. Mallyas' deportation as his stay in the UK is now illegal. Announcing the decision, ministry spokesperson Vikas Swarup tweeted, after having considered replies by Vijay Mallya, the MEA revokes his passport. Earlier this week, after the Enforcement Directorate asked the government to organize the deportation of Mr. Mallya from Britain, the government had said it would ensure that he is brought home to face justice. Well, my colleague Nidhi Razdan joins me for more on this development. Nidhi, Vijay Mallyas' passport may have been revoked, but can you explain why this doesn't simply mean that he will be brought back to India immediately?
Well, the big question is whether this case with Vijay Mallya is going to go the Lalit Modi way. If you remember, Lalit Modi's passport was also revoked by the government of India. But at that time, Lalit Modi managed to stay on in the UK. And the question then is whether Vijay Mallya will approach courts in the United Kingdom and authorities there and manage to get travel papers and papers to stay on there. But at the moment, the status is this. Legally, he has no position to stay there. At the moment, he is illegally staying in the UK. The passport has been revoked. He does have the option to appeal. He can appeal first to the Chief Passport Officer. He can then appeal to the High Court if that doesn't work, and then he can go all the way up to the Supreme Court. But pending the outcome of all those appeals, he does not really have any legal documentation or any legal papers to stay on in the UK. Meanwhile, the Ministry of External Affairs is still consulting legal opinion here on how it can move ahead with the deportation process, which, as you pointed out, is not going to be an easy one. And I do suspect that Mr. Mallya will try to find a way to move authorities and courts in the UK to be able to stay on there.
Well, thanks so much for that, Nidhi. That's the perspective of the MEA from Nidhi Razdan. But Tanima Biswas now joined me to get a sense of what Vijay Mallya himself would like to do. Tanima, just as an example, I remember you covering the Lalit Modi case that even Nidhi was talking about. His passport, like Vijay Mallyas, was revoked, but that did not mean that Lalit Modi had to return. In fact, a British government official had commented at that time the revocation of his passport by the Indian government did not necessarily mean that Modi lost his right to remain in the UK. So Vijay Mallya is unlikely to be perturbed by this development, right?
Right. In fact, you can draw certain parallels with the Lalit Modi case. In that case, also we have seen that the government has an intent to bring him back to the country in order to actually appear in front of investigative agencies which are looking to question him. But despite that, Interpol, despite several exchanges between the Indian government, the investigative agencies, and the Interpol, he's not been put on there's no red corner, he's not been put on that list on Interpol, which will actually bring him back here, despite the government's best efforts. As far as Vijay Mallya is concerned, again, we have seen similar pattern playing out, where Vijay Mallya essentially 3 notices were served to him by the Enforcement Directorate, which has a case against him filed just earlier this year. They have been trying to question him. They have questioned other people regarding this 900 crore loan scam. The ED is claiming that at least 430 crore was allegedly laundered abroad by Vijay Mallya and Kingfisher Airlines. They need to ask questions regarding that. But despite serving him 3 notices between March and April, he's not appeared. So now finally they had to move to court last week in order to get an APW issued against him. Despite that, now we've of course seen that there is a lot of proceedings which need to be done between Government of India and Government of UK. So the Indian government has now taken the first step. We have to wait and see whether it actually bears fruit. And Vijay Mallya does return to the country in order to face investigative agencies and ask questions by them. Remember, there are 2 investigative agencies, not just Enforcement Directorate, but also CBI, which has a case against Vijay Mallya. The same case related to the 900 crore loan which he had taken from IDBI Bank in 2009. At that time, he had said he was taking the loan in order to pay salaries of some of his employees and in order to buy aircraft parts for Kingfisher Airlines, which was functional at that time. But the ED, as far as the investigation is concerned, says that a large chunk of that money was actually allegedly laundered abroad.
Well, thanks so much for that, Tanima.